Hi, and welcome to Blossom Your Creativity. My name is Debbie, and I'm happy to have you join me today. On this channel, we do lots of DIYs. We do tablescapes for two, make faux foods, and decorating my home decor. And we join in on challenges. And from time to time, my mom, Grandma Sandy, jumps in, and we have lots of fun. So come along as I learn to blossom my creativity, and I hope that I inspire you to blossom yours. If you like what I do, please subscribe. I'd love to have you part of my family. And if you like what I'm doing, please give me a thumbs up. This tells YouTube you like our content, and hopefully this will help us grow. Thank you so much, and let's get on with the video. So in today's video, it is challenge time. And you know what that means? You gotta come and see my new creations. So today's challenge is called the Minis Challenge. This is an open collaboration that's done monthly, and the theme is different each month. This is hosted by Corie from Crafted by Corie. And this month, we can do fall or Halloween minis. So let's see what DIY number one. So in this DIY, I'm using these window cling. I believe it's from the Dollar Tree, and then I'm using these building blocks, and I used 3 going one way and then 2 on either side. And so then I make a group of 3, and those are going to go together just to make like a plank. I didn't have a clear piece of wood, so I thought let's just go ahead and make them with these little building blocks. Then I decided to cover the wood with this really pretty paper because I wasn't happy with the way the wood looked once I glued it all together. So I thought I'll just adhere this piece of paper with some Mod Podge on this little piece of board that I made with the tumbling tower blocks. And then I will add my window cling to the paper. This way I'll have a better look behind, because you know the window clings are clear and you would see all the imperfections of the tumbling tower blocks. So I'm just making sure I got rid of all of my bubbles, that it's straight. I think I may have cut a little part incorrectly, so I did have to trim that. And then I just adhere that window cling using some Mod Podge. That sounded like a good idea, but I noticed when I was taking some of the pictures, it has a lot of glare, even though I put the Mod Podge over the top. But it's okay. It turned out pretty cute for what I was going for. And then I needed to cover up the edges, so I decided to use some of this pretty ribbon from the Dollar Tree as well. Actually, I started off with this little, it's very skinny ribbon, and I actually got that from the thrift store. They had like 20 spools of these different ribbons, so I ended up getting it because, you know, you always can use real skinny ribbon. So I'm just putting that all the way around, and then after I'm done with that, then I will put that ribbon from the Dollar Tree on it. I like it. It's kind of country looking, feminine looking. I like that. So then I just adhere that all the way around, and I like how the addition of that helps the picture of the cling on the front. And here I just added a bow with a little piece of ribbon in the middle, just to give it an extra little look, and I think it looks pretty cute. I am liking this a lot, and it'll look so cute on my tiered tray. And the last thing to do is to add a piece of the wood from behind so that it will stand up and not tip over. And there you go. We'll see it again in the final reveal. Okay, so for DIY number 2, I decided to make some apple themed DIYs. I took these wooden apple pieces and that Farm Fresh, and I'm using these True Red, Wasabi, and King's Gold for the colors of my apples. And I'm going to use a little bit of that yellow as well. But first, we've got to cover up those holes. So I put my spackle in there and went ahead and covered up those holes. Later, only to find out that that really did not help. But, you know, I'm just going to roll with it. So with the Farm Fresh sign, I just used some of that antique wax and colored the letters. I'm just brushing that on, and then later I will take a baby wipe and then just simply remove the excess. I don't want it to be that dark. I do want to show some of the wood coming through. And now that my sign's done, I'm going to work on my apples. So I want one of each, a yellow, a green, and a red apple. And I want to try to get some color variations. So I start off with the King's Gold because I like the color of that. And then I'm going to tone it down with a little bit of that yellow that I showed you earlier. And I just go back and forth between the two. I even add a little bit. Oh no, I'll tell you later what I added. So with that same brush, without having to clean it, I'm just going to go ahead and paint the green, the wasabi, and that yellow that's left on the brush. It kind of gives it a really nice color. So I'm really liking that green, and you see how I'm highlighting just to give it some dimension. Now moving on to the red apple, and I thought, oh, this is going to be my favorite, but I don't know what happened. The red didn't turn out to be as red, and then I ended up using that yellow and some green. I thought I was going to be able to do some highlighting, and I just really wasn't happy with the way it turned out. I kept messing with it, hoping that it would turn out, but it is what it is. So I wanted to go ahead and use a different color green. I think it was a shamrock green that I had in that bottle. And so I'm just putting it lightly on the little stems, and then I use that same antique wax just to add some dimension and color to the stem. And then I use that antique wax all around the apple just to give it some highlights. Again, just trying to create some shadows to make it look like a real apple. Now I'm ready to stack my apples and my sign, and I like the yellow on the top, so I went ahead and adhered them with just a little bit of glue. And you see that I'm doing it. I was just making sure that I had lined it up the best that I could, and then I wanted to add that Farm Fresh sign to the front of it, and just add just a little bit of glue just to keep it in place. I try not to use too much glue because I don't want to see it coming through the letters. So now it's time to just add a piece of that block in the back and create my stand. I ended up just using one at a diagonal with some hot glue. Now on to DIY number 3. And we're still on the apple theme, and I took this little cup. I have a lot of them. They're like a cupcake cup. And I thought, you know what, let me just start figuring out what I can use with these. And I decided to make like a little basket. So I cut the craft sticks down, and then I'm just simply hot gluing them all the way around, and I'm just using the bottom of that cupcake liner as the stability, you know I can't talk with these voiceovers. Anyways, so I'm just simply, I needed something sturdy for a base. There you go. That's the word I was looking for, the base. And so I'm just going to continue to hot glue these craft sticks, the small craft sticks, all the way around. And then I'll pop back in and talk more. Oh, here, look. That was a miracle. I got them all done. And now I'm just putting some glue on the very bottom just to make sure that I have a good adherence to the base so that it doesn't come apart. Now I'm going to wrap my twine around the middle, and I'm going to do this several times, and this will give it a nice little look, country look. I'm really liking that twine. I got that from the Dollar Tree, and that looks pretty cute. And then, of course, after I already put it together, then I realized I have to put the antique wax. So there you go. So DIY number 4, our final DIY, and this one is my favorite. I'm going to take that green pumpkin, and I love this fabric. I got it from the Dollar Tree. It kind of feels like a sweater fabric, and then I had this little top to a canister that I wasn't using. So now I'm going to simply just Mod Podge the, oh, and forgot to tell you that I cut all these little strips. And I'm going to adhere those strips to that pumpkin with the Mod Podge. So here I am just trying to figure out how this is going to work. I've seen other people do it. I wasn't sure how it was going to work, and that fabric seems so thick, and I was sure that it was going to be really bulky. But once you start to wet it with the Mod Podge, it really lays flat, and it worked out perfectly. I was really amazed. I just had a hard time holding the pumpkin all the way around as I was trying to get it in place. Now, you will see later on that it probably would have been better if I would have painted the pumpkin white, because there was some areas that the green was showing through, and you'll see how I dealt with that later. It wasn't the best solution. In hindsight, I should have painted the pumpkin first, but I thought the fabric was so thick that you would never see the green come through. But it was the way that the strips were laid. Some of the pieces just were not big enough. And here you can see like little pieces of green popping through. And this is only in 3 spots, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but it still bothered me. And I tried to put my beading over it to see if that would work, and it didn't. So I just had to put a little bit of paint on 3 areas, and you can kind of see it in the picture right here where there's some paint on there. But it looks okay once you start putting the little fake pearls on there. And I got those little pearls from Hobby Lobby when they were on sale. And so I'm just simply adding, now I did wait for the Mod Podge to dry, of course, and then I'm just simply adding these little pearls on each of the ridges, just to give it that cleaner look, because you have those edges of the pieces of the fabric. And I did want to mention that I put that skewer stick in the pumpkin once I finished Mod Podging, so that I had a way to have it sit up and dry without sticking to anything. And once I got that on, I was trying to figure out how would I put the topper on, and I just simply put in a toothpick, and then that way I had something to glue the topper onto, since the pearls were kind of in the way. It was not going to lay flat. But I absolutely love this, and you'll see it in the final reveal. Here we are at the final reveal. Thank you so much for staying to the end. I want to say a special thank you to Corie for hosting this monthly challenge, and it's so much fun. And if you haven't went over and seen the minis challenge and the playlist, you have got to see it, not just for this month, but for previous months. There's such talented creators, so I really highly recommend you go over and check it out.